Now we'll look at Serbian news coverage of NATO airstrikes on Yugoslavia from government-controlled Radio Television Serbia in Belgrade. This portion of the news was recorded yesterday at 1:30 p.m. Eastern and translated here at C-SPAN in Washington, D.C. It's about a half hour.
You're watching the primetime news of Radio Television Serbia. Respected viewers, with the decree of the President of the Federal Republic of Yugoslavia, Slobodan Milošević, and in commemoration of the Day of Victory over Fascism, the following officers are decorated with the Order of Courage for their dedication and professional conduct in their anti-aircraft defense against a technically superior enemy. Major Dotlić Danila Boško, Lieutenant Janković Milenka Tiosav, Master Sergeant First Class Vučković Hriste Slađan, for their personal heroism, self-initiative in the conduct of their military tasks against a technically superior enemy. The Medal of Honor was given to Major Roksandić Mihajla Milorad, Master Sergeant First Class Matić Branislava Draga, Master Sergeant First Class Tintor Blanco. The medal for their virtues in the area of defense and security of the fatherland. Special medal was given to the soldier Popović Sima. According to the decree of the President, this was read to all units of the armed forces of Yugoslavia. The government of Serbia at today's session, presided over by Mirko Marjanović, considered the measures for alleviating the consequences of the evil bombardment against civilian targets. The evil attacks on the urban centers of Belgrade, Niš, Kragujevac, Novi Sad, Čačak, Valjevo, Užice, and other places in Serbia. The aggressor is trying to destroy our people and country. By bombing the building of the government of Serbia, these vandals attempted to assassinate the highest executive body of our government and thus damaged a priceless architectural monument of Serbia's cultural heritage. The government of Serbia continues its activities and carries them out in terms of the defense of the country and the people from the civil aggression. By attacking the Chinese embassy, the NATO fascists want to terrorize all freedom-loving people of our world who are fighting for peace and are opposed to the policy of force and madness. Unscrupulous to all international norms, NATO shows its true intention to subjugate the world to its dictate and force all people into obedience. These are war crimes against our civilizational values that will never be forgotten, and their commanders and executors will certainly answer to justice. Our people are unified in supporting their leadership to defend our vital national interests. The government also considered the implementation of the economic program for employment of workers from war-ravaged factories. Intense operations are underway to employ the people left jobless because of the military actions. At the same time, the government assistance is there to accelerate the reconstruction activities in damaged facilities for a quick re-establishment of their operations. The measures of the government in implementing short-term social protection measures secured the jobs of those whose workplaces were destroyed by the war activities of the aggressor. Targets of the criminal alliance, once again, and also last night, were civilian facilities throughout Serbia. Today at 11:25, 3 missiles by the evil alliance attacked the already destroyed storage facility of Jugopetrol in the northwestern zone of Niš. From about 2,000 meters of elevation, the facility was attacked precisely when it was being visited by Gorica Gajević, Secretary General of the Socialist Party of Serbia, and the Vice President of the Council of the Republics of Yugoslavia. Also present were the Vice President of the Socialist Party, the General Manager of the facility, as well as Jovan Zlatić, Commander of the Civil Defense Units in Niš, escorted by numerous journalists and TV crews. Severely injured are Duško Mašković and Duško Aleksić from the police forces. Lighter injuries were suffered by an editor of TV Serbia, Goran Čirić, and about 10 more people. At the same time, the dead numbered Zoran Nikolić, born in 1959, who was killed in his own backyard, and Jagoda Mladenović in her own garden in the village of Orljane in the county of Doljevac. To remind you, this is the third attack so far on the storage facility of Jugopetrol, which can no longer serve as any target for the aggressor. So it's very clear that the real targets were these high political and party officials: Gorica Gajević, Secretary General of the Socialist Party of Serbia, immediately after the attack, made the following statement for Television Serbia. Today, the Vice President of the Socialist Party of Serbia and myself came to Niš to visit one of the countless places of NATO criminal deeds. Here, just as everywhere else, the victims are civilians, children, women, old people. The targets are civilian facilities, hospitals, markets, houses. But this time, while visiting already destroyed facilities, we became target and victims of an airplane that was flying very low over our heads and sent missiles about 20 meters away from us and the TV crews. They injured severely one wonderful young man from the police forces, Goran Aleksic. Also injured was the Vice President Duško Matković, who is still being operated. Fortunately, I was rescued with the help of my colleagues from Niš. But in the past hour or so, I also convinced myself that the spirit of the people is unflinching and that the citizens of Niš, just as the citizens throughout the country, are determined and unified in the defense of the freedom, independence, and this determination and unity, this heroism of the people, the police. We are led by our Supreme Commander Slobodan Milošević, and this is all guaranteed that we shall defend our vital state and national interests, and that we shall continue to abide by the politics of peace and the resolution of all Kosovo problems in political manner, for equality of all national groups. NATO aggressors today at 12:08 initiated their 9th attack on Čačak. The planes attacked for 20 minutes. In the town, one could hear 6 strong explosions. Target was again the industrial zone, especially the factory CER and the Technical Institute. This zone was attacked yesterday in the afternoon, killing 4 people. The facilities of NIS Naftagas, very close to the center of Čačak, were also hit. The strong explosions damaged houses in the area of Kulinovci, very close to NIS Naftagas. No human casualties are recorded. For a third time, the NATO criminals attacked the Ovčar mountain. One missile hit the factory for textiles, and another missile hit close to the medical center in Mrčajevac. At 12:15, NATO Air Force attacked Valjevo for the 11th time. This time the target was again Krušik factory, already completely destroyed. So far attacked 9 times with over 80 missiles. Once again, they damaged the buildings in the nearby area, and you can see heavy smoke from the Krušik factory. The civil defense units confirmed that there is no danger for the population because this is the fuel at the bottom of the reservoir that's burning. Acting successfully, the anti-aircraft units in Smederevo managed last night around 11:34 to hit a missile of the enemy alliance. Part of the missile fell on a house in a residential area in Smederevo, causing severe damage. They also damaged some other surrounding houses. You can see a lot of broken window panes, and many facades are damaged. 2 people have been lightly injured, but after the doctor's help, they were sent home. Last night, around 11:15, the missiles of the NATO criminals hit the overpass on the road between Belgrade and Niš, close to Velika Plana. Thus, they disabled the right side from Belgrade. The traffic on this road has been stopped in both directions. At the same time, the aggressor disabled the railroad tracks connecting Belgrade and Velika Plana. In the destructive attack of NATO, there were no injuries. This is the first attack of the NATO criminals in the area of Velika Plana. The aggressor alliance continued its attacks on Kraljevo County. About 10 minutes after noon, 2 strong missiles hit the suburb of Jarčuljak for a second time since the beginning of the aggression. 3 people were injured, and dozens of residential and other buildings suffered a lot of material damage. Today, around 12:45, the criminal NATO alliance for a third time attacked with 2 missiles the bridge on Kokino Brod on the highway between Nova Varoš and Užice. The bridge was destroyed to the ground. This was another second attack on a bridge in Prijepolje, also on a highway that leads to the coast. No confirmed data on the consequences of this enemy attack. The headquarters of the civil defense units of Novi Banat area announced that the NATO aggressors attacked once again the area of Pančevo. 2 missiles hit the Novo Selo in Banat. Only 10 minutes later, village Starčevo became a target. 1 missile hit a private house on the outskirts of the village towards Omorica. There are several injured civilians. A little bit after 2 p.m., the enemy air force attacked the area of Šabac. 2 missiles hit the village area of Korman, where they already had destroyed a radio transmitter. 4 missiles targeted the TV transmitter on Cer Mountain. At the same time, 2 strong detonations were heard close to Šabac, damaging several houses and a school, as reported by the local headquarters of the civil defense units. NATO planes continued their relentless attack on civilian targets in Kosovo. This morning around 8 a.m., 3 missiles targeted the relay station at Kutlovac near Stari Trg. They also hit the area between Uroševac and Erili Prelas. 3 attacks were recorded on the villages in Lipljan County. Several bombs exploded in the fields near those villages. Around 1:20 in the afternoon, 4 explosions shook Pristina. NATO planes targeted the forest behind the Pristina suburb of Dragodan. This morning's bombing of Starogradsko village killed 3 civilians, including a child. The enemy bombed last night Kosovo Polje, the park area Grmija near Pristina, the village Lukar inhabited only by Albanians. 5 cluster bombs fell on the border area near Đakovica. Target of the aggressor alliance this morning around 3:30 was also the bridge on the railroad between Belgrade and Thessaloniki and the bridge on the highway between Belgrade, Skopje, Thessaloniki in the area of Grdelica. As reported by our correspondent, these bridges already attacked were hit with 3 more missiles. At the same time, 7 missiles fell on Sinkovac, suburb of Leskovac. After last night's attack on Murina, this little town in the northwestern part of Montenegro is a wasteland. They destroyed the bridge on Lim River, also a power station, post office, dozens of houses, the roof of the grammar school Petar Dedović. Due to the destruction of the power station, there is no electricity in the villages of Plava and Businja as well. Local water supply is interrupted, telephone lines are out. The locals are no longer in the villages. They're being hidden in other villages around. Here, not even the shops are working, so people have to find out what to do by themselves. Western sources acknowledge that the NATO air offensive so far has led to a loss of over 70 planes and some 200 cruise missiles, notes the latest issue of our journal Army. NATO headquarters continues, however, to hide their losses, but acknowledges the high levels of skills of the Yugoslav anti-aircraft units. The descent on many questions creates, as the paper notes, a growing confusion among the aggressors, amplified daily by the dissatisfaction of the pilots who are sent into high-risk and genocidal missions without well-defined tactical goals. Recently, they've been denied their ejection systems. The command structure of Yugoslav armed forces has shown that our knowledge, strategy, tactics and imagination are superior to the schematic variants of the NATO generals who consider reluctantly that Yugoslav armed forces have outwitted them. The defense of our fatherland, Federal Republic of Yugoslavia, is our victory, stated the commander of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, Lieutenant General Dragoljub Ojdanić, upon receiving the highest order, the Silver Plate, bestowed upon him on this day of the victory over the fascists by Professor Milo Marković, President of the Association of World War II Veterans. By bestowing upon you this distinction for a successful command over the Yugoslav armed forces, we express our admiration recognition for what all of the units of our army do in their heroic fight with a technologically superior aggressor, stated Professor Markovic. In his thanks for this order, General Ojdanic said that this is a recognition of the entire armed forces of Yugoslavia and noted, they cannot destroy our love for our fatherland, and they cannot destroy our right to fight primarily for peace, although we have to wage a war to fight for freedom, to protect our independence and our sovereignty and territorial integrity. I'm convinced that the international public opinion within the international community will finally learn about the true goals of this world hegemonistic force, and that they will become even more decisive in their support for justice and truth, in their advocacy for the respect of the UN Charter and all other international norms, and that they will do everything in their power not to allow this hegemonistic force to reach its goals by tailoring the world according to their needs and values, while trying to reach their strategic goals. The Army of Yugoslavia will follow the commands of the Supreme